How are we and the other two cars already pointing the wrong way? And away we go. We start on P12. I wanted to hang back as much as possible. P11 and 10 did not even grit. So let's get through this first turn unscathed. That's my intention. The car on the right is hanging back too much for my taste, so I'm going to overtake them as well. And on these cold tires, I make a horrible mistake. So embarrassing, even more embarrassing, because Ledenon is one of the tracks I probably would have practiced the most of any of the other tracks, but now we're pointing the wrong way and we try to figure out how to get back on the track. There's other cars pointing the wrong way as well. We need to go around them and line ourselves up behind this red and white car that is now in front of us. Well, that's fine. We started in P12, so we haven't really lost all that much except position to the cars ahead that we did want to overtake eventually. So we need to make up all these spots now. Let's stay on the racing line. Let's go off the racing line, see if we can poke our nose in here, go on the inside. I've practiced this several times to go through these turns on the inside and entering the turns on the inside. This works out well. I stay the course and I get on the accelerator into the straight. I have the inside position now. The car on the right is doing a good job as well, not trying to knock me off track, and they do back out ever so slightly here as we make it through on the racing line. Car goes off on the right as well, and now we overshoot this here. Again, I'm too distracted by looking at the car that has gone off track, and I still need to make sure I can improve myself on that and keep an eye on everything as well as staying on track myself. Making it through this turn fine. We brake a little bit later than the car ahead, so we need to be aware of their different behavior. More cars spin around as we go through here. And we're going into the downhill section, closing out the first lap. That is action-packed. We've made up several positions. Still going through here on these cold tires, gently on the accelerator, and we get a good exit, and we're overtaking the car, the red and white car as well, and back to the straight on the start and finish line. What an action-packed first lap. I'm trying to take a wide entry into the first turn because that has been what most of the track guides have been doing as well. Obviously I can't emulate it perfectly, but I'm coasting through here as much as possible on the accelerator and the brakes to make sure the car is pointing in the right direction at all times. But I do brake too much on the last turn, so the car behind us, the red and white car, is now gaining on us and has overtaken us again. This is going to be a constant back and forth between me and that car in front of us. It looks like that. We're going again on the inside, seeing if we can repeat our move from the first lap. No, we're too far behind, so we think better of it, and I back out from this little corner here. The car ahead of us is faster in turns where I'm slow, and I'm faster than the car ahead of us in turns where that car is slow, so this is going to make for some good racing. None of us are perfectly consistent, so we will have to just wait and see who makes the fewer mistakes or more mistakes to give the other an advantage. Again, it looks like we can make our way through here, but since the red and white car has the inside line, I do back out and don't want to risk getting taken out early on in the race. Several minutes are left in the race. As I mentioned earlier, Ledenon is one of the tracks that I've practiced probably the most of all the tracks. I've constantly practiced on it. When I first went into this track this week, I was about a second faster than I was in it last season. I've only been at iRacing for about three and a half months. I did finally get my D-class license, so that's good. I'm going to work on getting to the C license in the next season, but that's coming up. Regardless, we've made it through another lap here. We're still behind the red and white car, so we have to fix that. But as I was saying, I was about a second faster this season than I was last season initially, as I was going through this on my own, practicing with test drives and AI races. Then I did watch some track guides and figured out some of the braking references for this track on the various turns, and that has allowed me to speed up a further 3 seconds. So I've gone from a 1:39-ish, which was my fastest time in the previous season, to this time in this season getting to a 1:35 something, with 1:35s. So it was a huge improvement for me. I was very happy with that. Still more to go because the track guides I watched were in the 1:33s, perhaps high 1:32s, but there's more to go, more to improve, so I'm looking forward to getting there eventually over time. So we've now caught up to another red car. Everyone has a red car here in this one. In some other races everyone has a purple car, that's also good. But we've now caught up to another car which we'll eventually have to overtake. So now we are in this little train trying to think of where is the best time and spot for me to overtake them. I don't think it's anywhere near here unless I make a mistake, so the most likely opportunity for me to overtake any of these cars, or for the car in front of us to take the car two ahead of us, is probably in the start and finish straight. Trying to get through here, optimizing my exit, but I'm watching the other cars too closely, and that meant I was going a little bit wide on the entry and the turn as well. So nevertheless, we are now stuck behind these cars for a little while until we get our way through here. Turn 1 used to be a very scary one, it still is quite scary for me, but trying to go in on the right hand side, turning left, gently coasting through here, tapping the brakes ever so slightly once the car is pointing straight, but not too much so we don't take away too much of the speed, and then I'm always too slow on that last apex here, which is something I have to work on. But we are able to go through here fairly quickly, and then I'm able to catch up to them on this turn because my braking reference I think is a little bit further ahead, and I'm able to slow the car down a little bit more effectively than the two in front of me. So again, like I said, everyone is making mistakes at different parts of the track, and I'm making mistakes at different parts than the cars in front, so that allows us to stay behind. They're going to battle it out, it looks like it, so I love that because hopefully they will do something that slows them down, which means I can stay with them. But I am backing off a little bit because I want to make sure that I don't get caught up in anything that would cause them to veer off track and bounce back onto it in an uncontrolled manner. So I don't have enough time to react if something were to happen. That's my strategy here for now. On the other hand, I do have to work on making moves and forcing my way through here. Like now, we do get a little bump on the side, but nothing too dangerous. I do back out because I did get scared. Again, something to work on, having that aggression to go through these turns and making the move stick. Maybe now is another chance for us. I love that downhill section. Nope, everyone went through here okay as well. Next attempt on the next lap, I suppose. The good news is I am able to stay with these cars out of me. And this is why I love iRacing. Every time I get better at some track, at some type of a turn that requires some type of a driving technique, I get paired up with drivers who are also better. Everyone is pushing each other. Well, this car is now literally pushing the other car off the track, but that's, you know, unfortunate. But it allows us to also now make our way past this car. But again, since they have pushed them out recently, I do back up and do not want to risk it. One thing that I noticed here in this previous turn is that the brakes of the car in front of us did go glowing red, and I've then rewatched it again, glowing red front brakes. I did rewatch some of the other footage of my car and this car throughout this race, and I noticed that the car in front has constantly glowing red brakes, while my car did not have glowing red brakes. Not sure why, probably, well, obviously, perhaps because the other car in front of us is braking much harder than I am braking, but it does not seem to make a difference in our pace. That was confusing because I was always now trying to brake more gently, which seemed to have made me faster, but the car in front of us is braking harder and I still can't get by them. So again, that's something for me to work on, making sure I can gain that speed, keep that pace, and figure out where to overtake and how to position the car so that I can overtake these other drivers as well. That's part of the constant growth with iRacing, which I love. Constant development, constant improvement, so much to learn, so much fun, and lots of interesting tracks as well. Now I'm backing up here. I did get a little penalty where I had to slow down for a little bit. And we're coasting through here on the accelerator, on the brakes, trying to turn the car, trying to make sure we get through here, trying to stay on the darkened part of the track and maximizing our exit speeds as much as possible. Now that we have served our penalty, I do need to catch up to the car ahead of us a little bit more so that we can overtake them eventually, hopefully, as well. Trying to go through here on the darkened parts on the racing line, maximizing our exit speeds, trying to stay far to the right. For this turn, I have no braking reference that I know of, so if you know a braking reference, do let me know. None of the track guides really did offer much insight on that. Here, full out, flat, trying to go over the curb, going as much to the left as possible. Once the sand on the right, on the left comes in, I get lift, turn right. Here, braking at the last little square. Trying to go through here quickly on the accelerator as much as I possibly can. I usually mess that one up. Going all the way to the right, and as soon as I see the curb on the left, it's usually too late to turn in, so I need to turn in here and try to take it out flat. If I miss it, I do lift a little bit, and then as quickly as possible on the accelerator. This turn, I always still mess up. I try to go in and turn as late as possible and brake as little as possible. But as you saw, I usually am not able to do this here. Braking in a straight line, going a little to the right, trying to get on the accelerator before the apex and slingshotting out onto the straight. At least that's my intention. Not sure if that usually works. It usually does not work, let me tell you, but it's something to work on, something to improve. And then of course here, going as far as I dare onto the right, and the moment that this little line on the front comes across, turning in, still accelerating, and then I start coasting and breaking another cars off on the side here. And trying to stay on the darkened part of the tarmac here of the road, keeping with the car ahead. The bush on the right is my braking reference, one of the bigger bushes, the last big bush there. No clear braking reference for me on this part. Once we're sort of right here, I try to figure out where to look on the left, and then by feel I slow it down and then try to go back on the curb on the left, trying to use all the curb on the right, and full throttle into the left. I missed it a little bit here, and then again back to the left side and turning in, coasting, pushing the accelerator again, finding that last square on the left, braking, trying to get through here. And as you can see, we've made up the space, the grounds that we've lost to the car ahead after I've served my penalty. Also probably helped because the car in front did have to slow down because another car was off in front of him as well. Again, still the same theme as in the past, where I often rely on mistakes from other cars. I did have some overtakes here that I was pushing the nose in and then made them stick, and others I did back out again. So I have to figure out when to do one or the other and get better at that. My plan for the next season is to try some of the multi-class races that are available for D licenses. So something there will have a Mazda, I think a BMW, and something else in there. So I'll try those out. I'll probably stick to the Mazda for the most part, but it'll be more exciting because there'll be other types of cars, other classes in there as well. So we'll see how that goes. And then the goal for that is to make it through to the C license fairly quickly after that season, and then expand into other racing, what do we call it, series, other racing series that the C license will award me. And I'm excited for that as well. I do love the Mazda, so I'm definitely going to stick with that. It's a fun little car to drive. I really enjoy it, and I'm getting better at it, and I'm able to practice some of the driving skills here. Let me know which class of type of car you prefer to race in, and I'll probably give it a try and let you know the results of it. The other car I've been practicing with is the GT4 Porsche cars, and I do love those as well, but again, as I mentioned in some of the other videos, I'm not quite yet comfortable enough to drive around other real humans on the racetrack because I do often lack the control that I would be comfortable with. So, a couple more weeks of Mazda racing, and then we'll get into the multi-classes, multiple different types of cars racing, and my journey proceeds to get a C license. We've caught up to the red car, the red and white car in front of us more, so let's see if we can overtake them. This is the last lap where we have a chance to do so. It's now a sort of fine balancing line between staying behind them, not making a mistake, and not taking both of us out, as well as hoping that if they make a mistake, I'm close enough to capitalize on their mistake. But they went through here also just fine, so no chance for me. Ultimately though, we've made it through, we've improved our time, we're consistently faster than in the past. This was an okay lap here, 136 something. This is again 1 second slower than my best times now, but I did improve from before. A 139 was my best time. I would like to do a comparison of my prior season Ledenon versus this season Ledenon, just a lap by lap comparison, and then figure out where I've actually made these improvements. At this point, I want to thank you for watching. It was great to have you on board. Let me know your feedback on the driving, on the driving techniques, which car you prefer to race in. And before I forget, if you do want to follow along in my journey in iRacing, please hit the like and subscribe button. It'll help the channel grow, and it is a positive feedback signal for me. So thanks very much, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.